Hi guys. This is the last week of our classes. This is the last IEW week, the week that you're doing your presentations for your Faces of History project. So we're finishing it up. You're all done with your writing. Basically all you have left is a little bit of reading out loud. It's a super easy part of the project, but it might be a part that intimidates you. It might be a part that makes you nervous because you have to get up and talk in front of people, which is silly. It's not silly that you feel nervous, but it is when you think about it logically. This is the easiest thing we're going to do the whole year. You get to read out loud your Faces of History essay in front of your family and the family of the other kids in the class. So it's a cool thing. It's really good for you guys to practice doing this. It's good for your overall confidence, for your future in public speaking, and it's good for your friends and family to get to hear what you've done, to get to see the fruit of all of your sitting and writing and rewriting and checking for errors and fixing things. I did get to read most of your essays already. I'm still waiting for a last couple. But you guys did really good work. I really, really appreciate all the work that you guys put into revision, that you put into making what the first draft that you wrote even better. You guys have been really good about noticing what's wrong and fixing it. And that's a really important part of the writing process. And you guys did a great job. I really loved reading your final drafts because they're so just nice and good and well done. So I'm excited to hear you guys. So the instructions, what are we even going to do? So this Friday evening, you guys are going to be able to present your papers. I think you guys already know we're doing this at the Hamiltons as a drive-up thing. So you'll be in your car until it's your turn to speak, and then when it's your turn to speak, you'll walk up, or you'll be introduced. Miss Pam or someone will say, next up we have Jessica Gardner. It won't be me because I'm not doing one, but Jessica Gardner with her essay, Faces of History. And then you'll hear your name, it's your turn to go. You're gonna walk up with your essay in hand, and you're gonna read your essay out loud to the group. Very simple and very easy. I am going to give you guys a few instructions of exactly how I want you to go about presenting your essay. So let me just check my notes. So, first thing is you have the option to dress up as your character. Because remember how we rewrote our essays into first person? So you're saying, I was born in 1403 or whatever your dates are. So you're introducing, or you're not... You're reading as if you're the person in your essay. So you can also get the option, which is really fun, I think, to dress up as your person. So come up with some kind of costume. It can be all out extravagant, where you're wearing a fake beard and everything, or it can just be little touches of costume that is whatever you're comfortable with. I want to see a fake beard or something. I hope you guys all take advantage of this because I think it's super fun, and maybe that's just me I like to dress up. I think it's really fun. I have a really cool medieval dress, but I'm not going to wear it because I don't have a special character. So sad. Let's see. So, your instructions, and I'll send you this in an email too. You'll hear your name called out. You'll hold your paper and you're going to walk up to a microphone. There's going to be a microphone available to you to use, which is great because everybody's sitting in their cars. So you don't have to yell your essay out. You'll just get to speak loudly and regularly into your microphone. So you'll walk up to the microphone with your paper in hand. And here's the thing, this is the instructions. I don't want you to introduce yourself. So you won't say, I'm Jessica Gardner, and this is my essay, Faces of History. Don't introduce yourself. Someone else will have done that for you. Once you start walking up, you should be in character. You can be the person in your essay. Now, here's another thing. You don't actually want to introduce the person who you're pretending to be either, because you kind of want to give your audience a chance to guess who your person is at the end. So some of you actually have it already written into the first line of your essay. My name is blah, 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 blah. My name is King David and I was born. So if you have that in your essay, if you actually state your name in your first sentence or really anywhere, that might be a good idea to, just for the presentation part, cross it out. It still works in your essay, but for your oral presentation, for the speaking, I would just cross out the part where you introduce yourself because you kind of want to keep it a secret until the end of your presentation. So you're going to go, paper in hand, walk up, and right away, well, you'll smile, Smile at your audience, and once you notice you have their attention, begin reading your essay. You don't have to do any special speaking until you begin reading. And then you'll hold your paper in front of you. Don't hold it down here. This is exactly what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to read your paper like this with your head down. But I also don't want you to read your paper like this with it all the way up. You're going to have to do kind of an angled thing where you're holding it in front of you so you can read it, but you're still making eye contact. You're still looking out over your audience when you can. They can see your eyes. You want your audience to be able to see your mouth and your eyes. So you might have to stand in front of a mirror and kind of see where your paper ends up needing to be. Because I think right now I can look down, I can say, great job revising. It made your work flow. That's what it says on my paper. Great job revising, guys. It really made your work flow. But I can read this and you can still see my eyes and my mouth. And that's important. So practice holding your paper where you can see it, but the audience can also see you. Also, I guess I should have been practicing that kind of thing throughout all of these videos. So, you're going to read your essay. During your essay, these are I'm kind of getting into tips now. I'll save tips for a bit. So you're going to read your essay. Let's finish instructions. So you walk up, read your essay, and then at the end, all you have to say is, do you know who I am? And that's the sentence. You can even write that sentence, quotation mark, at the bottom of your essay, right? Do you know who I am? I want you, the speaker, to ask your audience, this is the only audience participation part, do you know who I am? And someone will probably raise their hand, or maybe they'll just shout it out. But once you hear the audience say who you are, then you can say, yes, you're right. We're not going to take any questions from the audience because we don't have a ton of time to make our presentations. So you say, who do you think I am? And then they're like, King David. And you're like, yes, you're right. Or maybe they're wrong and you're like, actually, that's not right. Does anybody else have a clue? And then once you get the right answer, or maybe you'll have to tell them if they can't figure it out, which I don't think is going to happen. I think that you guys will do a good job. They'll do a good job. Once they give you the right answer, say, thank you very much, and walk off the stage. It's very simple. You don't have anything to memorize. You just get to read your paper, ask, who do you think I am? Get your answer, say thank you, and walk off the stage. That is a very professional and very neat way to do this presentation. You don't have to say a lot of extra words other than what you wrote. That's going to make it very polished and very professional, and I think you guys will do a great job at that. So with that, instructions are walk up, read your paper, ask, who do you think I am? End with thank you or thank you very much. You can do a little bow, a little nod, but just something real nice and subtle, and then walk off back to your car. And while they're clapping, that's when you're walking. Very classy, very good presentation. You guys are going to do great. Here are the tips. Those are the basic instructions, but I have some tips that are just going to help you with the reading part. So first, I want you guys to look at your audience now and then. So you're going to be reading. We've kind of practiced this in class before, but you're going to be reading. Good job revising. It made your work really flow. Thursday, we'll be making our presentation. And then take a little moment to look back at your audience. You don't actually have to look anybody in the eye if that makes you uncomfortable. You can just kind of look over their heads. And just take a second to stop and look. Be smiling. You can talk and smile at the same time. It actually, I think, helps people project when they're smiling and talking at the same time because it makes your mouth bigger, which actually helps you talk louder. It's a good tip. Another tip. Smile. So look at your audience now and then. This will be especially helpful at the ends of paragraphs. It's going to help signal that you're on to a new topic. Take a deep breath, smile, and then move on to your next paragraph. So little pauses and little moments where you look at your audience is really going to help. You don't have to do it every sentence. Sometimes we practice that where we read a sentence and then say it out loud, read a sentence, say it out loud. This is a kind of a long presentation since you have to read your whole essay, so I don't recommend doing it every sentence. But every few sentences, and especially at the ends of paragraphs, look at your audience. So another good tip is to keep it slow and use pauses. This helps your audience stay engaged. A lot of times when people read out loud to me, my brain turns off immediately and I start thinking about other stuff, and it's very hard for me to listen. This is because we don't read things out loud the same way we talk in a conversation. When we speak to one another, we actually do use pauses to check if people are understanding. We use pauses for dramatic effect, and we use pauses for things like commas and periods. We just do it naturally, and it keeps us involved in a conversation. Even if someone is just speaking. When we listen to a sermon, I listen very well until they start reading sometimes, and then I'm like, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. So, since you guys are reading, we want to keep this more like a conversation. And that means those looking at people to pause, and also reading slowly, observing commas and periods, and definitely paragraph breaks. That's really going to help. Giving people's minds a little break, even if it's just a half a second of a pause, it's going to help. I promise, it's really helpful. So make sure you breathe and give pauses. Next is speak loudly. You get to talk into a microphone, and like the proper place for the microphone is right in front of your mouth. I don't know what the microphone situation is going to be, but you do need to speak into the microphone. Just because it's there, or there, doesn't necessarily mean it's picking up your voice, especially if it's windy. So make sure your mouth is very close to the microphone. That's going to help you. Also, even though there's a microphone, use a loud speaking voice. And you also have a character, and your character, even though you're a kid, might be an adult. You don't have to use a fake voice, but keep your character in mind. Would they be a confident person while they're speaking and very dramatic, and because they probably give a lot of exciting speeches to their armies or whatever they have? Or is your person more timid and quiet, and are they just going to be very calm and give their talk and hope that you're listening really well because they really want you to understand? You can give a little voice and character to your voice, to your own presentation as well. So that was keep it slow and use pauses and speak loudly. Use the same skills you do when you're singing. Fill up your belly or your diaphragm with air and give your speech, and then take another breath. Let's see. I already talked about how some of you guys introduce yourselves in your essay, and I want you guys to cross that part out. If you say my name, I think we talked about this. If you say, my name is King David of Israel, you'll cross that part out because we want to keep it a secret. Yes, we already talked about that. My last tip is a very important one, and it's going to make all of the other tips run a lot better. And this tip is practice. I know that reading, you don't really need to practice reading in order to read something, because, you could read something for the first time and still do a decent job because, you don't have to memorize anything. But if you practice reading your essay out loud several times in front of a mirror so that you know where your paper belongs, in front of another person, because that's going to help you with your confidence. They don't even have to tell you how to fix things. They can. You can ask them for help, but just practicing speaking in front of another person, reading your essay a couple times, is really going to help your presentation skills. Because even though you're not memorizing it, those sentences will be logged in your brain a little bit. You will have a certain amount of it kind of memorized. And that means when you're halfway through a sentence, you already know how the sentence ends, so you can make a little jump with your eyes up to your audience. So, I do want you guys to practice. I want you to read your essay out loud several times before Friday. That's basically your only homework this week, between now and Friday, is read your work out loud a few times. Practice will make it go much better. What I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be giving final grades out for this. When you make your presentation, I'm going to be like, sweet, they're here. They made their presentation. Check. And that's your points. I'm not grading exactly how well you make your presentation. I'm not being like, I think they forgot to use their because clause. I'm not doing any of that. It's just if you're there and you're making your presentation, you're getting credit for your work. But I will give some bonus points to good presentation. People who made eye contact or at least looked at their audience. Check, good job, guys. And they made nice pauses. Good, I can tell they practiced. I can tell this isn't the first time they've read it out loud. It's gonna be good. I really will appreciate you guys practicing this before it happens. I had one last tip that I just thought of last minute. It can help. I think most of you guys typed your essay, which means you can reprint it in a larger font size if you need. That means if you need your words bigger, so that you can read them when you're holding your paper a little bit further away, you can do that. That's perfectly acceptable. However you want your paper to look when you're making your presentation, I'm not going to be looking at it. It's all up to you. So if you want to print it with bigger words so that you can read it easier, go ahead and do that. If you want to highlight the beginning of each paragraph so you can kind of keep track of things better, go ahead and do that. Practicing is going to tell you what kind of things you're going to want on your paper. So practice, practice, practice. Nice pauses, look at your audience, smile, breathe, all of those things are totally going to help. So, looking forward to seeing you guys on Friday. Let me know if you have any more questions or need any help with this assignment. And that's it. I loved teaching you guys this year. I loved having you as my students. I got to know some of you more, and that was awesome. I wish we could have met together more these last few months. But I really think your writing improved a lot too. And I'm looking forward to see what you guys do in the future. Love you guys. Bye.